Let's give them a round of applause.
Yay!
Well done, well done, well done.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right, OK, then. So what state are you in?
I feel fantastic, Phil.
Yeah?
I feel
What time did the
fantastic.
party finish? Tell us about the night.
I was in bed at midnight, professional, ultimate professional.
Really? Now, then what really happened?
No, it was a great party.
Yeah.
It was a great party. Your speech was the particular highlight for me. No, we had a good time last
Is that
night.
the last bit you remember?
Yes. No, it was a good night, and it was... Look, the whole process was just overwhelmingly incredible. So many emotions, so many ups and downs. And, after the Bolero, it probably wasn't... came across very well. You guys saw it. I was just in floods and floods of tears. And I think when my head was on my arm in that position, it was just the relief of it, being done, and like that whole process. It's such a long process, and we worked so hard. It was great.
But
so
I think
good.
that's the thing with you two particularly. Being Olympians, the pair of you know what it is like to really dedicate yourself fully. I mean, when you give 100%, you give 100%.
Give 150%.
You really do. And you could see that in that moment. It's like you just left it all out there on the ice.
We did. And I said to Olivia at the very beginning, like, I just want to get good at skating. Like, that's, we're athletes, and this is her world and her sport. And, look, gymnastics, it does help. I've been asked so many times, do you think it's an advantage? Do you think... Of course it is. Like, I've not said that throughout the whole process, but the fundamental body awareness that gymnastics can give you just allowed me to... I'd watch Olivia do a trick and I'd be like...
He's like a sponge.
I'd just do it.
Soak it up.
I'd just try it. And...
You see, the thing is that I think when you skated on first of all, and you didn't really know what you were doing at all, sports people for us every year, but the sports people centre themselves and have the time to in their heads just throw themselves into it. However, it's a whole. I actually would say that's not dancing though. I mean, you learn to skate, but to be able to, you can act.
I didn't know that about myself.
You might be on curry next.
I certainly won't be. But I didn't really going into this process appreciate that and understand that I had to do that. And it was a challenge at first, but I realised that, there's a skill I've learned about myself that I didn't know I had, and it was difficult to play the certain roles. I preferred playing Robbie Williams, the entertainer, to the Leona Lewis on the bed in Love. That was a difficult one.
You're going to have your favourite.
But from, like, day one, I remember looking at you and being like, you need to smile with your eyes, and you're like, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
And then throughout the process, he just caught up with it and just did it naturally. And I've called him a chameleon. He adapts to each character, each play, roles in every routine.
Which is certainly adapted to having a fully grown man holding you by the ankles and swinging you around an ice rink. I mean, that was a first. I'm not sure we'll ever see the likes of it again. Here it is, your headbanger moment in your showcase last night, leading you to get a score of the perfect 40, 10s across the board from the judges. How did that feel?
It was so fun. It's Brendan was the pro that was holding me, and you have to keep your... Like, Jane was sort of talking me through it, but you have to keep your head on this shoulder so that it's not near the ice.
Yeah, you don't want to go...
And I'm staring Brendan straight in the face, and all I could see was him just doing this. We were just smiling at each other. But it was so much fun. You just sort of lay there and get thrown around. And I think, like, that routine for me was the highlight of the whole thing, obviously being choreographed by Jane and Chris. But then the jam-packed, like, the stuff we did, that specifically, I mean... It shouldn't have been cleared by health and safety. There was 4 men holding scaffolding poles whilst I'm doing a handstand 2 metres in the air.
Sharon was like this.
No,
Sharon being the medic.
Yes.
Yeah, the physio. But,
and the reason why that's terrifying is because, yes, all right, people can say, oh, well, you're a gymnast and you're doing gymnastics on the ice. What's the big deal? But normally, the equipment is bolted to the floor.
Absolutely.
That was just held up by 4 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the pros just had to go, OK, I'm going to hold this and you're going to do a handstand on it.
It was great. Look, I just said, yeah, let's do this, because I love... Like, part of this process, it wasn't necessarily about winning for us. It was just about skating the best we could, and I really wanted to bring something different to the show and just like one of my statements and sayings is changing the game. Like, I really wanted to do something that had never been done, and you know, we pushed it with the axle jump, which didn't quite get there in time. But I think with that specific routine, the Pirates, it was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
It brought it all to life.
When I walked in first thing in the morning when we were going to start the rehearsals and stuff, I saw Chris in the corridor and said, "What do you think? You know, happy final day, all that sort of stuff." And I said, "Can you call it?" And he said, "I have no clue. Literally no clue. It was a really close call. It could have been anybody." We got over 1 million votes last night, which is astonishing in itself. But for you, when we've talked to your dad a couple of times on the telly, and I've spoken to him in commercial breaks and things, this has been something that pulled you back together.
It has. And I was just speaking with my girlfriend and friend. He said never seen me so clear and just happy. For the last few years for me, and moving out of sport have been so difficult to, I guess, you know, you lose your identity from 4 years old to 25. It's been so clear. I just wanted to become the best gymnast in the world, and then all of a sudden,
gone.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
And that's because of the neck injury. We should
I broke my neck and unfortunately ended my career. And I think that was hard as well to come to peace with, because it's sort of not your decision to stop. It's sort of taken out of your hands. And, you know, still, even to this day, that process is really tough. And I don't necessarily know who I am or what I want to do without sport. But I think this whole process has certainly given me, you know, I've learned so much about myself. It's given me clarity. It's given me a purpose, a routine, and you know, it was just such a special time. You know, meeting Olivia and having the experiences we did performing, sort of, you know, scratched that itch and made me realise what, you know, I've got more to give. But it's
Onwards and upwards.
Absolutely, I'm very special.
Yeah. And you may go back to the Olympics. You know, so you've got that option. So this is the ultimate mic drop. You come in for 1 year, you win it, then you go and do something else.
I'm guessing so.
But who knows what is going to happen to you? Because this means as much to the pros as it does to, obviously, to our celebs.
And even for me, this has been an absolute new process, from going from competing to doing show skating. It's so different, and they deserve so much credit for what they do on these shows. You don't see the behind-the-scenes things. I've had a hard time. I've trained for the Olympics. We've trained for the Olympics. But this has been hard. We've loved it, but it's been hard physically, mentally, it all. But I've learned a lot from doing this show, and I want to take what I've learned from this back to competing. And I think
so cool.
I think it can actually develop me as a competitor and help me grow more in that side of my sport.
No, that's amazing.
See where it goes from there?
I love that you said
That's all get behind Olivia.
I know,
Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Well done, you.
Higher than a bronze.
You can go.
That's not fair.
Hey, we have the gold. You have the bronze. I'll try and get a silver. So
There you go. Saved it right at the end. Well done.
Congratulations.
You've been brilliant. Yeah,
Thank you. I just want to say
amazing.
thank you for everyone. You know, you said 1 million votes that supported me and Olivia and the whole the ITV team. It's just such a well-oiled machine, and it's you guys. Everyone that's involved is so incredible, and thank you so much for this experience. It's been very special.
Well, it wasn't completely well-oiled last night because there's an enormous delay and we had to wait because I think Joey Essex ripped his trousers. So whether they were stitching him back together or going, I never quite got to the bottom of that one.
No, we need a proper debrief.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Thank you. Right, just a moment.